Welcome back to the I Want to Save Money YouTube channel. I am Miss Amelia J. I have heard people absolutely rave about Plum Paper Planner, and I finally decided to give it a try last month and ordered a planner I want to use for work, and I absolutely fell in love with a lot of the customization options that they offer. That's really the best thing about Plum Paper. They have incredible customization options. I'm going to get into all of that in this video. I'm not going to get into too many specifics about planners that I have customized or all of the layout options that they have. This is just going to be a list of pros and cons. And while I'm very happy that I finally gave them a shot, and I'm very happy that they have so many customization choices, I am very hesitant about whether or not I will be using any of their planners in the next year. I use my work planner a little bit differently than how I use my personal planners, so I've actually already ordered my work planner from them for 27 because I absolutely love the layout I selected, which is called Notes and Days. So let's just jump right into this. I'm gonna start with the cons. So the first con for me is the price. Now, to be clear, when I'm criticizing the price, it's about quality, okay? I believe that if something is very useful to your life and it's something that enhances your life in some way, I think it's worth the money. But you have to bring the quality. I do feel that the quality is not quite there. But even aside from some of the quality issues, which I'll get into in just a minute, the prices I just looked at online are $47 to $59. And the thing about that is, that's only for 6 months. That's not even a full year. I also want to point out that when I was browsing the website before Black Friday and Cyber Sale, these prices were lower. I'm pretty sure the cheapest one I saw was like $35, $36. If anyone else has been browsing Plum Paper Planner like a hawk the past couple of weeks, I would love your input if you've noticed this as well. It seems that they're doing the same thing that Target and Amazon do, which is basically they will up the price when Black Friday hits or a cyber sale hits or whatever to make you feel like you're saving money when really you're not getting quite the discount you thought you were getting, or you're literally paying the original price. Now, it's a business and you need to make your money, and I understand that it costs money to make your products. I get that. But I don't like the shadiness behind that. As a consumer, feel like even if you have a product that I want, I kind of feel like I'm wasting my money if I'm rewarding that kind of behavior. Tell me what the price is, be upfront, and if your item's on sale, then it's on sale. And if it's not on sale and people aren't buying, maybe that should tell you something. So another issue I have related to their price. So for one of the planners that I was purchasing, I really wanted to do disc punch planners because I have a bunch of disc punch paper that I use for my budget planner that I'm using an old Happy Planner. And I'm not going to go through all of it. So I would love to be able to take some of those pages and make sure they're still utilized instead of just throwing them out. And here's the thing. So I can get the planner, I can get them disc punched. The discs are sold separately. I'm not crazy about that. A lot of people that I've watched on YouTube put their planners together actually like assembling it themselves. And that's cool and all. But the discs are sold separately for a starting price of $22. You got me all the way effed up. Nope, no, not doing that. And of course, I started building a planner not realizing that, and then once I got to that portion and did realize that, I had to go back and completely start over again because it kind of changed how I wanted to set everything up. Of course, I could have done more research from the beginning to figure that out beforehand, but the point is, that's ridiculous. If you want to go from a silver coil to a gold coil, I think that the price difference is like $10.95. So I think if you want to go from silver coil or unbound to a disc punch, it should be a similar type of change in price. Now, they are metal discs, but to me, it's just like if you're selling a disc bound planner, I'm sorry, the discs should be included. Now, they do seem to be very high quality metal discs, so for the discs, I have not personally seen or touched them. I will take everyone's word for it that they are very high quality. And that's great, that's cool, but if you sell a disc-bound planner, the discs should be included. If it's not assembled, that's one thing, but they should be included. That just seems a bit too significant of a price jump for me. So here's another additional charge that I'm not crazy about. So I want to add things like add aligned pages, because one thing that I think is going to be different about paper planning than it has been in previous years for me is I want to add a lot more note-taking and journaling. So definitely need more space for notes. So I don't mind paying for those additional note pages. However, it costs more money if you want to get them dispersed throughout the planner than if you want them in a tabbed section. Now, I kind of don't feel like it's fully fair for this to be on my cons list because in hindsight, I do think it makes sense It's more of a pain for them to put it together that way if you were dispersing it than if you were just making a separate tab section. So while this additional charge is a little bit more understandable to me, it's still something that I'm not crazy about. Because for any of the planners I get, I'm gonna want to add at least some note pages. The next con for me is that highlighter bleeds through the paper. No. You're charging too much for your planner if I can't use highlighter in your planner. I'm sorry. The average Happy planner is $35. If I want to get 12 months of a Plum paper, I'm spending almost $50 bare minimum before I've added any add-ons or further customizations. And Happy Planner does not bleed through. And I have no problem whatsoever with highlighter on Happy Planner. Erin Condren is a bit more similar in price to some of the base prices for Plum paper. Super thick paper. It's a little toothy. Plum paper is smoother, so I kind of like the feel of Plum paper a little bit better. But using highlighter is a basic part of planning. Now for my work and for my YouTube, it's not as big of a deal. We'll see how it goes with my lifestyle planner because I really want to be able to use highlighter. Now I have a lot of multicolored pens and things of that nature. I have a lot of sticky notes and stickers, so there may be other ways for me to kind of coordinate things and make it happen. In my YouTube planner, for example, I basically printed one of the sheets from the order guide to kind of play around with it and make sure which layout I actually wanted before I ordered. And how I plan is basically just moving these sticky notes for my write, film, edit, upload spots in my planner. That way, I just find that with YouTube specifically, there are so many last minute changes. As much as I love doing YouTube, there are other things in life that are going to come up that are frankly just more important. And sometimes YouTube has to go to the back burner. And I hate crossing things out. I hate drawing arrows and all of that stuff. So since I don't need to use highlighter necessarily for my YouTube planner or for my work planner, it's not as big of a deal. But for my lifestyle planner, I really do want to use these highlighted sections for what I'm cleaning that day, who I need to call, my to-do list, my tasks. I'm color coordinating different areas of my life, whatever the case may be. So not being able to use something as simple as a highlighter, that's a massive con. That is a massive con. Now, if we were talking about $20 planners here, I would take it with a grain of salt. Probably wouldn't even mention it because it's a $20 planner. But for this price point, if you're going to charge me that kind of money, you need to bring the quality. I'm sorry. Now, I did reach out to Plum Paper directly and I asked them, will there be any changes made to the paper quality? I love the planner, but I'm hesitant about ordering again from you. They said that there are no changes upcoming as of now to their paper quality, but they did give me a list of pens that work on their paper. They also recommended using mild liners. So I have like I think a 30 color kit of mild liners, but not all of the colors are literally mild. So honestly, I can probably use about 6 or 8 of them on Plum paper. So even with mild liners, only the lightest ones would work. And even with pens, I still have to be careful which ones I use. So highlighter bleeding through being a deal breaker for me depends on what I want to use that planner for. So right now for 27, I have my work planner already ordered through them, but that will likely be the only 2027 planner I use from them. I will kind of see how it goes through 26 with the planners that I have. As much as I love some things about Plum paper and I'm happy with the products that I've ordered and I'm excited to show it to you guys and do move-in videos and flip throughs, for certain areas of my life, I just can't justify spending this kind of money for a planner I can't even use a highlighter in. Lastly is the covers. So their covers are like a very thin placemat type of feel. It feels super smooth. I love the feel of the cover. You can also add a note to your order to make the cover interchangeable so you can swap it out throughout the year. But here's the thing. I may be okay for my YouTube or lifestyle planner because those will sit at my desk. My work planner, I pick it up throughout the day. I carry it from room to room sometimes if I'm having one-on-ones with employees or taking notes on things that need to be done, whatever the case may be. So first of all, it's opened and used 5 times a week, but I'm also carrying it different places throughout the day sometimes. I promise you that cover is not going to last through the end of the year. I realize that there are interchangeable covers that they offer. I realize that there are covers from other companies that I can pop on there as well. But to spend this kind of money and have a cover that's not going to last a year is pretty crazy. I've seen several plan with me's where people have heavily used Plum paper planners and their cover is starting to peel at the edges. Really? Is that truly? That is crazy to me. that y'all are going to charge this much and your covers can't last a year. Now, for the ones I'm still waiting on to arrive, they do have a plastic cover option you can order on top of it, but it's not attached. It's like a separate plastic layer, and then you open up and then you have that placemat-like cover. Now for the A5, I did try popping on an Erin Condren planner and that worked just fine. For the 7x9, I'm not sure if that's the case. I did order another interchangeable cover just to be on the safe side. But Erin Condren and Happy Planner both have this similar type of cover where I don't know what the actual material is, but it has a very thick laminate on it. So it's not like, for example, something like this. So this folder right here is a paper product and it's just got some very thin type of plastic lining on it. I've had it for a while, and if you look at certain points, you can see that it's just barely starting to come off a little bit. This has not been too heavily used, even though I've had it a long time, so it's still in pretty good shape. But if I was touching this every single day, it would definitely start to show. That to me is a similar quality level to the Plum paper planners. I ordered my work planner first just to kind of see what I thought of the product, what I thought of the company, and I was overall very happy in terms of the usability of the planner. That's really what has sold me on it and convinced me to buy other planners, but I just think the cover should be higher quality. Now, I do plan on swapping them out probably close to around 6 months into the year, but I shouldn't have to change the cover out if I'm spending this kind of money. And that's the kind of thing that just irritates me about this situation. But that being said, I might sound like an absolute Plum paper hater. I don't hate this company. I don't think their product is terrible. I just think that they deliver the kind of quality for a lower price planner. All that being said, Plum Paper's absolute saving grace is the amount of customizations you can do in their planners, which is actually pretty insane and definitely stands out from the competition. So if you have used planner after planner and you're like, I wish I could tweak this, I wish this was different, this would work if not for this issue with the layout, Plum Paper might be the option for you. So the first pro I have is that you can select a Sunday or Monday start for your weeks and for your months. That is a massive deal for me. In fact, it's why some of their competitors were immediately knocked off the list. I love Happy Planner. So for example, their dividers and the fact that their themes actually go throughout the planner. I just think it's so creative and it's so pretty and it's so well done. But I don't have a Sunday start option. Actually, it's been a while since I looked, so who knows if that's something that they've changed. But as far as I know, it's not. And I've played around with planners enough. I've been addicted to planner shopping and gone too far with planner shopping to know at this point how I really feel about what's going to work for me and what I need and what I don't need. As opposed to what I used to do, which was just about buy everything and figure it out later. So I want a Sunday start for my month and my weekly. And if I have a Sunday start on the month, but a weekly Monday start, I'm going to have to sit there and go through and basically redate the entire planner. And my thing is, if I'm going to buy your planner, I should be able to, the second I get it in the mail or I get home from buying it in store, I should be able to open up that planner and start writing and start using it right away as is. So if that planner is move-in ready, probably shouldn't be buying it. The next pro is they have an excellent selection for their covers. There are so many designs to choose from. They do periodically update them and add new ones. So I actually think that's one of the most fun parts is customizing your cover. There's so many options to choose from. They've got neutral options, seasonal options, academic options, healthcare options. They have so many options for you to choose from. The cover selections are just absolutely insane. So when I finally gave Plum Paper a chance, I was really impressed by the amount of options they had for the covers. I had heard people rave about the customizations options that you have with Plum Paper, including with their covers, but I was absolutely blown away while I was choosing what I wanted for my cover. And it actually took me way longer than I expected to choose what I wanted, but I love that. I love having that many choices. So that is one thing that definitely makes the personalization and the process just so much more fun in terms of picking out your planner. Speaking of customizing your cover, the font and color selections that they have for adding text to the front of your planner, I think is really good. So there's basically bottom text and center text. And for the center text, you can choose like a circle, a square, a rectangle, or a couple other different shapes. You've got several colors to select from as far as the backdrop for that text. And those will be colors that really match the color scheme for the cover you're looking at. I don't know how many font sizes they have, but I felt like there was enough selection for me to choose something that I really wanted. I hate it when someone says, oh, you can customize your font, and then there's like 2 options, and neither one of them are your style. And it's like, okay, great. Thank you for the customization option, I guess. So when my new planners get in, I will show you how I customize those because I'm pretty happy with how those turned out. Next up is an insane amount of layout options. So I'm going to pull up my layout guide and just show you some of them. So this one I showed you earlier, it's called vertical columns. This one I've already kind of gone in, obviously, and tested out just to kind of see for sure if that's the one that I wanted to use. Next up, we have an hourly layout. There are plenty of YouTube videos flipping through their layout guide. I'm not going to go through every single one, but if you want to check that out, that might be a good option for you. To show you another example of some of the customization options, this is called the MAE layout, or May. It stands for morning, afternoon, and evening. So these are actually the same layout, believe it or not, but this is just an idea of how you can customize your planner. So for this one, you have the lines on and you have the color on, which is why it looks very different. For this one, you have the color off and the lines off. So those are the kind of things that you can do to kind of take a layout that's already set up for you and just personalize it to how you want it to look. This one is the me layout. You've got these little boxes over here so that you can give yourself different categories and just kind of have that going across the page. Even if you don't use these for any type of labeling, I think it's kind of cool to have these different little block sections. It's still a great way to kind of section out how you're planning your day. Now, I base my next comment on very unscientific data, but based on the plan with me that I've seen, this may be the most popular, which is called the vertical priorities. So you can see plenty of plan with me's with this layout. This here is the same layout, but with some of the color options on and just a little bit of different customization to the page. This is your horizontal priorities for students. This is that same layout with different customization options. So as you can see, the color is off on this one, so it just looks very different. This is your hourly daily layout. These are daily layouts. One has color, one does not. This is quad, which has actually become one of my favorites, and it's going to be the one that I'll be using for my lifestyle planner. So you will probably see a couple plan with me's occasionally for this one. And there's probably over a dozen more. They've also got some that have their own little floral or bloom designs on the page. So insane amount of layout options. You got plenty of options if you prefer horizontal. You got plenty of options if you prefer vertical. And from there, you can customize even further by choosing if you want lines or not on the page, whether or not you want color going across the page. I just don't see this level of customization and layout options. Having this many layout options as your base for what you want to go forward and customize is absolutely amazing, and I do not see anything close from competitors. The closest I've probably seen has been Calibri. I'm not quite as impressed with what they have to offer. I'm not very familiar with their company, so who knows, that may change. Maybe they will be part of my planner lineup next year, who knows? But I am very impressed that they offer this many layout options. The next pro is that they have add-on categories for just about any area of your life. I would prefer to have a layout that's going to allow me to plan all of those things and then just add extra note pages if that's needed. That's just more my style. But if you want to have add-ons for your budgeting, if you want to have add-ons for your home cleaning, if you want to have add-ons for parenting, if you want to have add-ons for health and fitness, they've got a pretty massive selection for what you can add to your planner. Or if you want to add pages that you can kind of do your own thing with, you can add pages that are just blank, grid, dot, lined, what have you. Disc planners, for example, one of the biggest draw to me is that it's very easy to add and take off pages. But that being said, I'm not that crazy about disc planners. I prefer to pick up my planner and feel a spiral. I don't know what it is. It's some type of texture thing. I don't hate disc punch planners, but I prefer something that's not disc. But if I have all of the basic pages and I'm happy with that, but I want extra pages, sometimes that's made me walk away from a planner that I otherwise wanted. So I love the fact that I can add pages and I can also add things that might help me organize other areas of my life. Note pages is pretty much my add-on preference, but I love the fact that they have those options available. Again, very great selection. Now, I've already touched on this last pro just a little bit in what I just showed you, but you can customize text, boxes, and special dates in your planner. So let's take this last one that I showed you that has a little floral. So it might be hard to see from here, but these little arrows mark areas that you can customize text. Now, what text you use is really specific to your situation and how you plan your day, but let's just do a little example. So let's say you put priorities right here. If this is enough space for you, maybe this could be habit tracking. If you like to journal in your planner, maybe this might be a big enough space for you to journal. And then maybe if you like having a gratitude section at the bottom, you can customize this to say gratitude. That's a lot of customization that you can have printed into your planner. And the starting price for adding customizable text and special dates and stuff is only $5.95. Another example would be this one. This is a very similar layout, but at the top you have this box where you can customize something there as well. You have this habit tracker up top, already part of your layout. And with each of these arrows, you can choose what is actually printed into your planner as a text, and then you have these other areas here. Those are areas you can customize as well. Now, for some layouts, there's going to be more spots for you to be able to customize than others, so consider that when you're going through the layouts and selecting what you want. But I just think the amount of options that you have for what you can customize in terms of text is absolutely incredible. Now, to demonstrate some of the changes you can make in your boxes, I'm going to actually pull out my blank pages and happy planner because I don't have a print up of that design. So on the design I use for work, you have a horizontal layout of your 7 days of the week right here. On this side, you have a box at the top and you have 2 columns of just lined notes. You can also get it without lines if you prefer. But for each of these columns, not only can you customize the text that goes at the top, you can customize this line section, this line column. You can break them up into different boxes. You can break each of those columns up into boxes if that's what you prefer, which ultimately could make it an entirely different layout if you want to. I prefer the 2 columns. I know what I'm using for. I like having the box at the top and the horizontal, so I probably won't be changing that layout at all because I love it. But that's a great amount of customization that you can do with a layout that they already offer. So while there are plenty of things that I am not crazy about when it comes to Plum paper, they absolutely bring it when it comes to the customization options for your cover, for your layout, for the text you want to add, for special dates. All of that is pretty wild. So I think it's fair to say I have a pretty strong love-hate relationship with Plum paper. I'm going to be using 3 of their planners, 1 for work, 2 for personal in 2026. Depending on how that goes, I will likely just stick with the 1 Plum paper planner for 2027. I don't think Plum paper is going to work because of the highlighter bleed through issue and the quality of the cover issue. So we will see how these planners hold up over 26. I'll be showing you some flip through videos and some move-in videos when I get those planners in. And then mid-January, I'm really going to be getting back to the budget with me videos and some of the shop with me and couponing videos. But I will be giving y'all updates as to how these planners hold up and what I think of them once I've actually moved in and started using these planners. So this video is really not to sway you one way or the other. I just think it's really important to determine, especially if you're going to spend this kind of money, whether or not this is actually the product that's going to work for you and how you plan. So hopefully this pro and con list gave you some ideas if you were on the fence as to whether or not you wanted to go with this company. My last Plum paper pro is that the shipping was really fast. Considering that this is a customizable planner as opposed to something they're just taking off the shelf and neatly packing in a box and sending on their way, shipping was really fast. So when I ordered before Black Friday from the work planner I wanted to try out, it shipped within 3 days. That's not bad and arrived exactly when they said it would. Now, once it's shipped, it's kind of in the hand of whoever's handling it and it's beyond their control. But for them to get it out to me that fast is pretty good. For the other planner I ordered, there's a couple separate orders. If I had a planner I could plan out of, maybe that would have been planned more efficiently. But anyways, so even for the Black Friday sale, I had my cart ready to go. As soon as the Black Friday sale went live, I submitted my order like within a couple of minutes, and that is supposed to ship out to me by December 3rd. Now, for this to be a Black Friday sale for a very popular planner company, for a customizable planner, I think 7 days to get it prepared to ship is actually a pretty good time. So I am using 1 work and 2 personal planners from Plum Paper for how these planners hold up in various writing instruments and over just over time, seeing how they handle basic use will really be a determining factor to determine if I buy anything else from them for 27. I have already purchased my 27 from them for my work planner because I know exactly what I want and what I like, and the layout is just perfect, so I'm good to go there. But for my personal use, I am definitely not for sure that I'm going with Plum Paper, and I will see you in the next video.